My husband, Patrick, comes in, and we turn on some mellow jazz tunes as we sit down for dinner as a family. No big deal. No red letter day. Rebel and I will live to see tomorrow. We'll work through the problems somehow. In the end, it's just a normal Wednesday. 5 years ago, when I was CEO of Nest Collective, which became Plum, Inc., I would have bemoaned every piece of bad news that came on a given day. I would have hooted and yippied at every piece of good news. I would have come home exhausted but exhilarated. If I'd had the discipline to turn off my phone and refrain from checking my email, which wasn't likely, I'd still have obsessed over everything that had happened, replaying it over and over in my head, and strategized over how to respond the next day. We entrepreneurs tend to be a bit intense. We're like the people who love to bungee jump and skydive, who love the thrill of being alive. Only we find it in business. We get our kicks in the chase for investors, for customers, for the most talented people to recruit. My intensity is a quality that I've learned to love about myself, because it drives me forward. But here's the thing about intensity. Little by little, inch by inch, if not kept in check, it turns into obsession. Unlike intensity, which stretches us beyond what may seem possible, obsession quickly becomes maladaptive. It's the difference between having the grit to stay at it for one more hour and the inability to say, that's enough for now, when you're exhausted. It's the difference between caring deeply about everything you do and caring so much about what you do that it becomes who you are. Intensity and obsession are two sides of the same coin, and entrepreneurs are particularly susceptible to confusing the two. Many messages about entrepreneurship make it seem as though starting a company is all glory, an exhilarating climb up the mountain, with a big monetary payout at the peak. And make no mistake, there is glory. The feeling of being in line behind someone at a supermarket and seeing her purchase the product you've worked your ass off to produce is indescribable. The feeling of seeing your company's name twittering in social media, or catching a reference to what you're doing in the newspaper or on television, can give you a rush similar to the one you get from breathing in high-altitude mountain air after a long climb. You get an enormous sense of gratitude when people look to you to lead them to an aspirational future. You get a high from making a contribution, from doing meaningful work, and from the knowledge that an idea that came from your brain is thriving in the world. We hear stories about victorious climbs all the time. What we don't hear are stories about the day-to-day process and the difficulty of the journey, and about the rarity of actually making it to the top. Those stories don't make for sexy headlines. The profession is filled with deeply distressed, or at the very least, chronically unhappy and unhealthy people. And that discontent comes home and affects everyone else who lives there. Personal and professional dissatisfaction among entrepreneurs is not limited to Silicon Valley, or even to the United States. It's prevalent throughout the world, from Europe to India, and it's starting to grow quickly in places like Kenya. One seemingly normal day in January 2013, I called my friend, Will Rosenzweig, co-founder of the Republic of Tea, and now the dean of the Food Business School at the Culinary Institute of America. We'd barely exchanged pleasantries when he told me that just days before, 2 entrepreneurs had committed suicide. One of these was a new business relationship of Nest's, a guy who was known to be pretty tough. I was surprised that I hadn't heard the news already, nor had I heard this entrepreneur had been suffering. But I shouldn't have been surprised. One of our great gifts as entrepreneurs is hiding hardship behind images of being in total control, of having all the answers, of the certainty that we and all those who work for us will become multi-millionaires or more. If you listen closely in Silicon Valley, you can start to hear new murmurings about failure, depression, and the growing problem of drug abuse among the valley's most intense. The conversation